kind of life. What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. Week 7 of the NFL wrapped up with a doubleheader on Monday Night Football, including your Detroit Lions in the 7 o'clock game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And oh, what a game it was. You boys and girls, you see the name, the words on the thumbnail, and oh, now we know, and now we know, and now we know the rest of the story. You see, when the NFL decides to take its thumb off the proverbial scale of the Detroit Lions, and, well, I don't know if you guys noticed, but they were in borderline autistic detail explaining every single decision that was made behind a flag or recall of a play. See the Arthur Mollett interception, where the head of officiating for ESPN was very detailed in his explanation as to why and why not plays were being called. If that's how they want to do it, that does what I've been calling for, and that is absolute transparency. And boy, howdy, once you start to actually treat the Detroit Lions like they're an actual team and stop treating us like second-class citizens, oh, well, you see the results. My, oh my, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had their hands full and a defense of a bunch of no-names on the back end and only one guy that can get to the quarterback. Oh, boy, well, Aleem McNeil sure did crack that narrative with his insane play last night. Boy, when you let our defense run unbridled and no longer tethered with microscopes put on two players in particular on the secondary, let them actually run free and judge them equally and fairly like you do every other team in the NFL. Oh, damn. You're going to do that. Calvin Shepard's not long for being in the Motor City. He'll be getting a head coaching job relatively quickly if you're going to let him play defense the way his defense needs to be played. It looked great last night, guys. We do have some stories pulled up for you. Well, first, you can see that I was getting hype to LeAnn Rimes and How Do I Live? LeAnn Rimes, in case you guys don't know, is the youngest Grammy-winning artist in the history of the Grammys at 14 years old. So, yes, admittedly, I am a big old LeAnn Rimes fan. And, yes, I actually do get hyped off of How Do I Live? It is an incredibly hype song. But go ahead and close that out, actually. Gonna go talk obviously, Lions news is first and foremost and paramount. You know what I'm saying? But then we need to talk about the Monday night game. But a little bit of sadness. We will kind of just run through it because all indicators lead to me to believe probably got the scrambled eggs in the brain. Doug Martin dies in police custody. Ex-Bucs running back suffers mental health issue, struggled while being detained. I don't know all of the details. Nobody really does because this is just kind of breaking news last night. I will tell you this, CBS kind of framing this in a very specific way. Just the headline alone would kind of lead you to fill in some blanks. And, well, you know, we've seen what happened 4 or 5 summers ago. I don't know about this, but we will quickly peruse through that. Admittedly, I was a Muscle Hamster fan. I kind of like Doug Martin. I liked his tough, gritty running style. Then we're going to walk over to Fox News. Lions put NFL on notice with statement win over the Bucs. Jared Goff and Jahmyr Gibbs came up huge, absolutely huge for the Lions on offense. We will briefly skim by why CBS is giving the Lions an A- for huge Monday night victory. Seahawks get a B. We will just read why and how the Lions got the grade that they got. It is just pulled up down there. And this picture, look at this touchdown. That is such a cool superhero landing with a flyover by Amon-Ra. We will briefly touch on the Texans-Seahawks game last night. The other game played out there on the left coast. Power rankings, as we've been keeping up with CBS, we're going to keep following their polls. CBS power rankings, obviously you can kind of see a little bit of a spoiler there, that who's on top, where the Lions sit, but we will look at the top 10 from CBS. Then we will go ahead and break down for the Detroit Lions over here at NFL.com. We're going to get a little Lions-centric. Bucs Lions on Monday Night Football. What we learned from Detroit's 24-9 win. And then finally, just to feel good about ourselves, the Lions learned the meaning of second chances with one player, in a win over the Bucs. How can you not be romantic about football? That is going to be a little story to read about our guys back there on the secondary. If you guys haven't already, would you kindly walk over to that subscribe button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, ring that notification bell. That way you can be notified every single time we go live, Monday through Friday, as well as pregame shows. Every single Lions game, we got a little pregame show. We're going to hang out, make some bets, try and cash on some dollary dues, run down some news and notes, and just generally kick it with you guys. Think of it as a digital tailgate. We then, if you could, like the video and share this around with every single person that you know. It's the fastest way to get our content pushed out there to the masses. We are just riding the momentum of a very successful week last week, the most successful week we've ever had on YouTube, period, point blank. And it's all because of all of you in Mad Hatter Nation doing all of this heavy lifting, sharing this around, and it's absolutely awesome. There is a poll up in the chat. Did the NFL expose itself by calling a game more fairly for Detroit last night than in years past? Yes, this is the Hat and Beard Show, guys. And in Mad Hatter Nation, you are required to have above room temperature IQ. So this is a bit of a thought exercise, and you have to think a long time. But yes, it's even more clear with 71% of the vote, 12% of the vote saying no, they favor Detroit too much, which I am not actually opposed to. There was at least 2 instances where myself and Hat and Boobs were like, well, if you're going to call it fair, you got to call it fair. And then with 12% of the vote, I was kind of in this spot, though over the past 20 minutes here, we've kind of pulled out. Team mildly hungover, stop yelling. Who we got down in the chat this morning? Mr. Detroit City, what's up? S. Curry, nice glasses. I appreciate it, S. Curry. There is a one, I like the way that it helps me read things. I can kind of read the screen a little bit more clearly. And 2, it is a little tip of the hat to our guy, Hunter S. Thompson. You know what I'm saying? Game balls offense, Gibbs defense, Shep for a great game plan with our depth guys, and absolutely deservedly so. Dude, Calvin Shepard, I was hype about him when he got the job. I knew he was the man for it, and he's absolutely crushing it. Way to have a big statement win on a big Monday night game right before the bye week, before you get healthy and get all those pieces back. What's up, Mom? My mom's here. Good morning. Great defense last night. It was a great defense, wasn't it, Mom? Brentwood, terrible for Martin's family. Yeah, dude, we'll read this article. It is really sad, man. It is really sad. S. Curry, what up, though? What's up? Good morning, Jody. How you doing, sister? Good to see you. Good to see you. Chase, what's up, man? Whiteside turning out to be a great pick. Kid balled last night. Brent, that's actually someone we're going to talk about later today. So did Arthur Mollett, that guy. And how about Eric Hallett? Can we give some love to Eric Hallett? I've been high on that guy since training camp. I'm chasing Chase. What's up, brother? Good morning, my dude. Need to talk to you, probably, maybe shoot you a message. Got to start looking at maybe doing a Discord thing over here for the Hat and Beard Mad Hatter Nation. In response to the poll before I hit my meeting, Hat knows, but at one point I was in school for game design. Yep, sports are games. I pick up on patterns quick. Last night seemed to be... Do you see it then, dude? Okay, so it did seem like a little bit of an overreaction. Okay, so I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy because, like, it is, like, a little bit. I was just kind of like, it's kind of that same feeling I got when it's like last week. I'm like, well, why'd the refs say Kansas City didn't have any interference with the call? Like, now they're being so overcorrective that I'm like, well, why are you doing it so much now? That just further makes, like, they've overcorrected so much that it just further drives home my point of they've been fucking with us for years. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Derek? Good to see you, bro. Good to see you, man. Mad Hatter Nation. Hell yeah. What up, OS Curry? Good to see you. Good to see you, Derek. It's early morning out there for you. You got a shout out last night on Micro Mike's stream, dude. Yeah. I think Mr. Detroit City. I think Mr. Detroit City dropped a comment about that, and I thought that was pretty cool, dude. I thought that was pretty cool. I have to go back and kind of like zero in and find it exactly because it's like a 4-hour long stream. But I thought that was pretty cool, dude. Mike Kimber's the man, dude. He's the king. Brandy Coffee. There you are. Ha. Yeah. There she is. There's Brandy Coffee. Brandy, is there something you want to tell us? Is there a secret that you want to share with the class? Something about you having access to the script? Sister, until proven otherwise, you know something. You have access to the script because you've called a lot of touchdowns up to and including first drive touchdown and to go into Amon-Ra. I'm telling you, sister, until proven otherwise, You seem to have some type of access to the NFL script. You know something. You know something. But I appreciate it. Good to see you here, sister. Everybody is here, rocking and rolling, guys. Let's get into the show.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well, then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
All right, guys. So real quickly, I have decided that we're not just going to do a Thanksgiving charity drive because I don't think that's a long enough time to really make much of an impact. But so what I did, or what we're going to do is my church here is hooked up with St. Vincent de Paul locally. And what we're going to do is, so like last night I won, just under a couple $100, right? So I'm going to set a portion of that money aside from all my any winnings that I have between now and December 7th. So I'm going to call it something like bombing the holidays or a charity bombing or something like that, because the last day that I have to get the money in is December 7th, which happens to be Pearl Harbor anniversary, so it's easy to remember. But what they do is, so I'll take all the money we make from super chats and donations between now and December 7th, and percentages of all of my winnings. I'm going to donate through the church to St. Vincent, because what they do, it's pretty cool what they do. So they're teamed up locally with Meyer, right? And what they do is they take the donation that you give them. So if I give them $10, right, just for measurement's sake, if I donate $10, Meyer takes my donation and then doubles it. So if I give them 10, Meyer then donates 20. So the full amount is $30 to the local St. Vincent de Paul food bank thing, whatever. So that's what we're going to end up doing. So between now and December 7th, any and all super chats that are made or done, whatever, any money donated to the channel, as well as a substantial percentage of any of my gambling winnings, are going to go towards that. So just so you guys are aware, if you feel like donating, we'll probably start to put some things up in the chat as we kind of get along with that. So that's probably what we're going to do. I think it's pretty slick that Meyer does a matching or a doubling and whatever. I could always try and run a disc golf event for you, to help let me know. All right, on. So you do disc. Gotcha. I know who you are. Gotcha. All right. What's up, dude? Good to see you. Good to see you in the chat. Hopefully we earned your subscription and your follow, and we can keep you entertained. It's pretty cool that you do run a bunch of disc golf shit. Curry down in the chat is kind of a mad disc golfer, y'all. And, You do charity shit with that too, if I'm not mistaken. I think you do a lot of, like, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of your tournaments that you advertise and stuff are generally some type of charity or something along those lines, which I think is pretty cool, man. Charity's pretty cool, guys. Charity's pretty cool. All right, guys, so let's dive into this. Doug Martin dies in police custody. Ex-Bucs running back suffered mental health issues, struggled while being detained. Am I being detained? Former Tampa, Bay, Buccaneers All-Pro running back and Boise State star Doug Martin died while in police custody following a struggle with officers who were investigating a break-in at a home in Oakland on Sunday, according to the Oakland Police Department. Martin, 36, became unresponsive after his arrest and was transported to the hospital after receiving medical aid on the scene. The cause of death has not been released through Alameda County. A first-round pick in 2012, Martin played 7 seasons in the pros prior to his career ending after a brief stint with the Raiders. Oakland police said on Monday that Martin was involved in a break-in at a residence in Oakland. A brief struggle occurred while Martin became unresponsive after being taken into custody. Paramedics responded to the scene, provided medical aid, and transported Martin to a local hospital, where he later died. Police said, quote, since Saturday, OPD has been in contact with Martin's family. The family has requested privacy as they grieve this tragic loss. No additional details are being released at this time, as this remains an ongoing investigation. I do think a certain amount of privacy is definitely at least to be expected. And this is one thing that kind of drives me nuts is, yes, this is a big thing. He was a first-round pick, and ultimately I think we will see that this will be some form of CTE-caused issue with him. But I do think that players need a little bit more privacy, especially with something like this. And I'm also going to ramp it up a notch. Maybe it's because I'm a little biased. Personally, guys, I like Tampa, okay? I'm a Bucs fan. I have been for a long time. I like John Gruden. I like Mike Allstott. I liked Simeon Rice and Derek Brooks. I like the Bucs, okay? I can't help it. I'm a big Baker Mayfield fan, all right? I also like Doug Martin. And, well, guys, personally, I'm a big Mike Evans fan, okay? I think Mike Evans is a very talented wide receiver, so there is a tremendous amount of bias in this. This all to say, the NFL has to stop zeroing in on players when they're laying on the field clearly knocked out, okay? We all knew, by the way, Mike Evans landed, late in the second quarter? Well, he was knocked the fuck out when he hit the ground. You don't need to show it. Stop. Don't zoom in on the guy's face when he's honk-shoeing on the field, right? Come on, guys. Like, even I was like, that's a little, like, a brief lock-on, and then once you realize that director needs to cut away from the footage. Shout out to the director of Monday Night Football last night, though. Did you notice a couple times any type of questionable calls, any type of a flag that was thrown? The director of Monday Night Football seemed to have the exact angle that would prove the Detroit. Think of that interception, that Cade Otton, that bullshit that the refs tried to give to Cade Otton when clearly Mollett had pulled it away. Like, he fought his ass off for that ball. He had it from the jump, right? And the director of Monday Night Football almost, dare I say, saying, well, if the NFL is going to put their thumb on the scale, I, with the power of the camera, will balance the scale with my own thumb, thus leveling it out and forcing the NFL and the officials to either show their hand that they are, in fact, a corrupt organization who dictates the outcome of games, or making them have to do their job, which I think is the latter of the two. I do think that the Monday Night Football might have had a little bit of sway by limiting and handicapping, kneecapping, if you were, the officiating crew by showing blatantly to the fans and to the national media, no, this is what's actually happening. Ultimately, mental illness proved to be one opponent from which Doug could not run, the statement continued. Following recent media reports about Doug's untimely passing, the family wishes to clarify the circumstances. Doug's parents were actively seeking medical assistance for him and had contacted local authorities for support. Feeling overwhelmed and disoriented, Doug fled his home during the night and entered a neighbor's residence 2 doors down, where he was taken into custody by police. Martin rushed for 1,400 yards as a rookie. We know that. The offseason signed a 5-year, $35 million deal. Yep, we know that. The suspension came amidst Doug Martin while being benched while the Buccaneers were making... Oh, that's right. Yep. He had a substance abuse policy. Yep. Known for a bruising style, the 5'9", 225-pound Martin started at Boise State and earned the nickname Muscle Hamster during his time on the blue turf. Prior to Heisman and Ashton Genty's career, Martin was considered one of the top ball carriers in the program history after ranking third all-time in the school with 43 rushing touchdowns and 48 total touchdowns. It's pretty impressive. That's impressive. It's a sad thing, dude. You hate to see it. You really do hate to see it. And ultimately, I think we guys know, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably going to be CTE. How we doing, Mad Hatter Nation? CTE is bad. Don't get detained. Exactly, dude. Charity Ace Race, November 1st. That's cool. Hell yeah. I don't know what the Ace Race is. I assume that's a disc golf term. I don't know disc golf that well. The same people will go bash police over this. Sadly, I can't stand the anti-law enforcement crowd. Me either, Mr. Detroit City. That's what I'm saying about the way that CBS kind of framed this headline. Doesn't it almost seem like they're kind of framing it like the police killed Doug Martin? I think this headline is a little misleading. Or maybe that's just me having spent too much time in the culture war. You know what I'm saying? They don't care. It's all about exactly. You're 100%, Curry. That was an awesome takeaway interception. Brent, wasn't it though? Dude. So I almost made the thumbnail Arthur Mollett on there. And I almost made it, and now we know, because our defense was a bunch of unknowns, and now they're the most known unknowns. A 666, a mafia. You know what I'm saying? They always do. Mr. Detroit City, when you say they, do they eat a lot of hummus? Hole in one, a hole in one is an ace. Gotcha. Okay, for sure. Gotcha. Right on. Well, now we know, guys. We all learned something. We all educated ourselves and cultured ourselves. Look at us. Look at us, neighbor. Learning all kinds of new things. You can learn all kinds of new things. Make happy little mistakes into happy little trees. Lions put the NFL on notice with statement win over Bucs. JG16. JG16, Jared Goff. JG16 for MVP, and Jahmyr Gibbs came up huge. Yeah, Joey, that was huge. It was a huge game for the Lions on offense. Our guy, Ryan Gados. Ryan Gados. Doss was gay. Coming from Fox News. Detroit Lions made a huge statement on Monday night with a 24-9 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Lions hope to avoid dropping their third game of the season as they welcomed the Buccaneers into Ford Field. Baker Mayfield was earning talk about being a candidate for MVP, but also had to deal with injuries to two of his weapons in Mike Evans and Emeka Egbuka. Why do I feel racist when I say it's Egbuka? Also, I do want to point out, even early on, the Mike Evans didn't look right. Did you guys get the vibe that he just didn't look right from the jump? Looked like he was trying to kind of force it, maybe going 80%. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. It just didn't. He didn't seem right from the jump, and I hate seeing him go out the way that he went out, because I'm a Mike Evans fan. But I think we do need to come to the realization in the NFL that once you start losing all of your hair right here on the front of when your forehead becomes like a 6 head, which Mike Evans is thinning up top. He used to have thick curly hair. Now it's getting kind of thin up. I think it's time to hang up the cleats. I think once your hair starts receding out of your head and coming out of your nose, that's a telltale sign that it's time to get out of football. Goff was 20 of 29 for 241 yards and a touchdown and an interception. Gibbs ran for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 3 catches, for 82 yards. And the love affair with John Morton and Jahmyr Gibbs continues. Monty, where can anybody tell me where Monty is, or Monty, or Laporta, or Tesla, or JMO? Because all I seen was a lot of passes to can't block Brock Wright. Jahmyr Gibbs being not overly used, but just proving the fact that John Morton has a love affair with Jahmyr Gibbs. And Amon-Ra seemingly wanting to... Part of me thinks that maybe Amon-Ra was like, hey, Hattenbeard, you said that I wasn't going to hit my over. You said Jameel Dean is a good corner. I'm going to make you look stupid. And I'm standing here in my driveway in my yard next to my mailbox with egg all upon my face. Detroit opened the game with a touchdown pass from Goff to Amon-Ra. Running backs, Jahmyr Gibbs followed up the second quarter when he burst through a giant hole made by his offensive line and scored a 78-yard touchdown. And what was absolutely beautiful... What was beautiful about that Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown run, that 78-yarder? If you watched his body language, he knew he'd already beaten his man with 20 yards left to go. You could see it in his face. He knew he had the angle, and he didn't have to run full speed anymore. You could see his body language. I was telling Hatton, I was like, dude, he is laughing at him as he runs by. It was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. Goff was 20-29. Yeah, I read that, and I'm not going to read it for the third time. Lions defense coordinator Calvin Shepard was able to get his defense poised and ready to bother Mayfield and the Bucs all night long. Shout out Aleem McNeil. Oh, guys. Oh, there now, guys. Whoa. Oh, guys. Aleem the Dream is a bad, bad man. Aleem McNeil was having his way with the interior offensive line of the Tampa Bucs. So much so that they started double and triple teaming him. Aleem McNeil, I have never seen that much explosion and punch out of him in his entire career. Aleem McNeil is a bad, bad man. Our defensive line quietly put the NFL on notice. And if things continue to go in the direction that they're going, our defense is going to be a powerhouse post-bye week, especially once we get DJ Reed back. Oh, man. The defense was able to get to Mayfield 4 times in the game and forced 2 turnovers. The last time the Lions allowed fewer than 10 points was against Minnesota in the final week of 2024. Evans and Agabuka came into the game banged up. Evans ended up leaving the game after he suffered a concussion and shoulder injury. Agabuka was targeted several times but was unable to do enough to give Mayfield a lifeline during the game. Bucs coach Todd Bowles. I like Todd Bowles because a couple years ago in the playoffs, when Tampa came here, a reporter asked Todd Bowles, they were like, it's snowing up in Detroit. Do you think the weather's going to affect the team at all? And Todd Bowles just like looked at the reporter, and it's the way that he moves his mouth when he talks. He just goes, well, they play at a dome, so I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. It's just the way he's like, well, they play in a dome. I like Todd Bowles, and I don't like playing against Todd Bowles' defenses because they're confusing and frustrating. Jared Goff got hit far too many times last night. The Evans broke his, he suffered a broken clavicle and will likely miss the season. Yeah, he's also in his 14th year, 12th year, 13th year, somewhere around there. He came in 2012. Mayfield was 28 of 50 for 228 yards and a touchdown pass to Tez Johnson, who had 4 catches for 58 yards. Cade Otton led the Bucs receivers with 7 catches for 65 yards. Yeah, they not really connecting on the vertical passing game there. Detroit moves to 5-2 with wins and asserts itself as one of the top teams in the NFC. Despite losses to the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs, the Lions showed no signs of taking their feet off the gas pedal, and we get to just take the car right into the bye week, get a little tune-up, put on some new tires, and hit on Week 9 to absolutely crush the NFL. Tampa Bay fell to 5-2. They could really use a bye week to get healthy. The Bucs will get their wish in 2 weeks. Next week, they'll hit the road to take on the New Orleans Saints, who coin flip if they win or not. Miss Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde over there in New Orleans, and admittedly, Tampa already banged up. It did not. Last night was no. First of all, it doesn't bode well that they lost Mike Evans. They were already banged up. But also, guys, there is the Honolulu flu, where we are so physical with teams. We are so dominant in the trenches that guys have this hangover, if it were. You know what I'm saying? This hangover after playing the Lions, and statistically, you always lose following your game after the Lions. All right, how we doing? Oh, you said, gotcha, the leftist, Mr. I see what you're saying. I see it. Curry agrees with you. Hell yeah. Art Vanderlei, I think he got concussed on that out-of-bounds catch. Yeah, Art, you feel that too. I know exactly the catch you're talking about because he landed on his back really hard, and his head bounced. And not for nothing, but after that play, Mike Evans' eyeballs were spinning in his fucking head, dude. You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't right. Broke his collarbone, and that's Jody. It sucks. It's unfortunate. I don't like seeing players have to finish their career injured, and I really don't like to see players that I'm a fan of have that happen to them. Tesla got cheated on that touchdown. Sure as hell didn't. Let's fucking go. Hell yeah, Brandy. Brandy, you did call it. You guys did call it. It was beautiful. Hell yeah. Just wait until 44 is back. Dude, Mr. Detroit City, me and Hat Boobs were talking about getting Rodrigo back, and she's like, oh, yeah, I forgot he's going to come back. And I was like, it's going to be a huge benefit for the defense. Oh, once Rodrigo gets back. Little sister weighs more than Tez Johnson. Yeah, Tez Johnson weighs like 62 pounds, dude. Bucs play the Saints next, so probably no blue flu. You never know, though, Brent. You never know. That guy, Spencer Rattler, he could pull something out of his ass. But big feeling that the Saints are going to be big sellers at the trade deadline. Personally, I'm expecting to see one, if not two of three players get dealt from the New Orleans Saints. Everybody's high on Alvin Kamara getting traded to the Chefs. That is a kind of hand-in-glove marriage that I think is a distinct possibility. But they have very good, very inexpensive young wide receiver assets. Chris Olave being the name one, who unfortunately can't stay healthy because he's the victim of the hospital ball all the time. But also quietly, Rashid Shaheed is becoming a asset in the NFL. So I'm kind of thinking that the Saints, although they are a little bit Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you never know what you're going to get. Realizing what the future is and they need to rebuild now and get out of cap hell now, probably are going to want to move on from some of those assets. And if the seller or if the buyer comes with a decent enough offer, why not go ahead and move on from some of your pieces? You know what I'm saying? Woke up to a great sky of sunshine and a bunch of sad Bucs fans down. Oh, yeah, dude, I forgot you're down there, bro. Are they all butthurt down there? And you're wearing that Lions gear with pride, dude. Like, yeah, fuck it. All right, real quick, guys. This is such a cool picture. This is such a cool picture, yo. Legit. That is such a cool picture, man. I'm telling you, dude. Look at, not even involved in the game, but just cheesing his ass off, Sam Laporta. We're just having fun, guys. We are a team that's having fun. So we're just going to look at their grade real quick. CBS gave us an A- grade. The Lions defense had its most dominant performance of the season, and that was mostly thanks to the pass rush that rattled Baker Mayfield, who was sacked 4 times. The Lions secondary, which was banged up going into the game, did a good job of blanketing the Bucs receivers for most of the night. On the offensive side of the ball, the Lions have multiple ways to beat you, and on Monday night they decided to beat the Bucs with Jahmyr Gibbs. The running back had a career night, becoming the first Lions player in 14 years to at least 200 yards from scrimmage with 2 rushing touchdowns. He ran for 136 and grabbed 82 receiving. The Lions made a statement in this game, and the statement is that they might be the best team in the NFC. You understand now why the league, I really think last night showed it. That's why we have the name on the thumbnail. What it is, it can be taken in multiple different ways. Not only do we know now that the NFL, based on how the director of Monday Night Football and the way that the head of officiating for ESPN was breaking down in autistic detail exactly why, how, and where penalties occurred and why and how penalties shouldn't occur. All right, we're going to call balls and strikes. Everyone at Ford Field was mad about the face mask on Jahmyr Gibbs. Never happened. It never happened. It never happened. From the angle of the end zone looking down at Jahmyr Gibbs running at you, yes. By all accounts, on the trajectory of the man's hand being open, like the defender's hand being open, he should have 85% of the time wrapped his hand into the face mask and pulled Jahmyr Gibbs down. But he didn't. He never closed his hand. He never actually shifted the trajectory of the face mask by engaging it in any capacity that could be deemed violent or aggressive in nature or even accidental. So that face mask never occurred. However, on the Jameson Williams offensive pass interference, he never shoved off. And Khalif Raymond, well, he got to feel what it's like to be Aiden Hutchinson and get SA'd while he was on the field with a no call. A little disgruntled about that. However, what we seen with the beatdown that the Lions provided to, even though it was a banged-up Tampa, Bay, Buccaneers squad, what you see now is now we know that the NFL has been keeping their thumb on the scale, because when Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions are allowed to take the collar off and let their power levels exceed 10,000, well, they become Super Saiyan. In fact, Super Saiyan 2, maybe even Super Saiyan 3. And their power level is far too great for any team to handle on the football field. So the NFL has had to step in and stick their thumb on the scale of the Detroit Lions opposition, making it even harder for us, which is why now the meme has, in fact, last night proved the meme to be fact. It has been, and until last night maintains to be the new status quo, will for always will be Detroit versus everybody. Texans, Seahawks on Monday Night Football, what we learned. A couple of quick takeaways from the Texans Seabags game. I threw a couple dollars down on the Texans, hoping they'd pull it off in the fourth quarter. I needed a Dalton Schultz touchdown, the game to go over 40 points, and the Texans to win. But unfortunately, something's wrong in Houston. C.J. Stroud is being wasted. Might want to figure out some type of way to get yourself out of Houston. My friend, they're doing you no favors with whatever they call an offensive line and or running game. Seahawks defense leads the way to first play. Defensively on Monday night, the Seahawks were birds of prey, and they feasted on C.J. Stroud. The Seahawks exploited a porous Texans offensive line from the first quarter to the last, pressuring Stroud on 31.5% of his dropbacks, running for his life and keeping Houston out of the end zone until the final period. The Seabags were stellar at every level, with linebacker Ernest Jones tallying a game-high 12 tackles and an interception. Seattle's only takeaway safety, Ty Okuda, 9 tackles, a sack, and a pass breakup. Rookie safety Nick Amanuwarie, linebacker Drake Thomas, 3 pass breakups, and on were extraordinary. Oh, gotcha. All the more impressive was the Seahawks play with Devin Witherspoon and Julian Love inactive. This was an ugly game. There is no way around that, and the Seahawks' offense approach was puzzling at times. Regardless, Seattle is in a 3-way tie for first in the NFC West. Battle with dastardly defense has led it there. Okay, that was I have a 6th grade reading level. Number 2, Stroud and the Texans offense back to Struggleville, having posted 44 points against a struggling Ravens defense in Week 5 ahead of their Week 6 bye. C.J. Stroud and the Texans offense ranked 21st in total yards prior to Monday. We're back on the field and back to dismal form. Stroud was obliterated all game. That's a pretty harsh word, but accurate. Taking 7 QB hits and 3 sacks. Pressured or not, Stroud struggled, completing 23 of 49 passes for 4.7 yards per attempt, a touchdown and an INT. Of course, he's hardly the whole problem, and unlikely the chef won. The running game was non-existent, 56 yards, and top wideout Nico Collins had a big drop in the first half and then left the game in the second half after his head slammed on the turf on an incompletion. Stroud scrambled free in the first half and dumped off a pass to Nick Chubba-Lubba-Dub-Dub, only for it to be dropped in a play symbolic of the night and season. Even when Stroud can conjure up something positive, he's getting let down. Post-bye, the offensive struggles are a still glaring issue for a back-to-back AFC South champions. Number 3, JSN shines while Seahawks offense can't close the door. Yeah, that JSN dude, he's pretty wild. Though disappointing drives aplenty by the Seattle's offense, JSN still managed to flourish. The Seahawks simply couldn't turn this into a blowout, even though the defense served one up for them. Nonetheless, one of the NFL's brightest young stars was his weekly wonderful self, putting up 8 catches for 123 yards and an 11-yard touchdown that propelled the Seahawks to a 14-0 lead. The Seahawks dominated much of Monday and let the Texans hang around until the end. Cooper Kupp threw an interception when the Seahawks got fancy, tried to be the Detroit Lions in the first half for no reason. Seattle had a field goal blocked. Sam Darnold, whose forehead is too big, was seeing ghosts, gave up a hat trick to Texans Will Anderson, who earned a sack, forced fumble recover for a touchdown in one play. That was quite impressive. Will Anderson is a bad man. Puzzlingly, Seattle continued to throw the ball later than milk the clock. Seattle's running game continues to be a question mark, with neither Kenneth Walker, 17 of 66, and Zach Charbonnet, 12 for 49 and 2 touchdowns, able to find a rhythm this year. Well, Darnold has generally been good. He's still good for a few turnovers, offering up 2 on Monday, as the offense continues to be a puzzlement. JSN is not. He's a third-year standout who leads the league with 819 receiving yards on 50 catches with 4 touchdowns. And he's a burgeoning star who shined on a night when nobody else was doing the same offensively. And finally, Texans defense did enough to win. It sucks when the defense goes all out and the offense just, they can't stop shooting themselves in their 2 left feet. The tip of the helmet, at the very least, should go to the Texans defense. Along with Will Anderson's score, Aziz Shair recovered a fumble, and Derek Stingley Jr. and Kalen Bullock had INTs. The Seahawks offense, 316 yards, were hardly a great showing, and its 2 of 14 performance on third down was abysmal. Houston was solid on D. You got to have that good solid D. Since 2000, teams penalized 10 or more times. The Seahawks were penalized 12 times for 93 yards, have a turnover margin of -3 and worse, and convert under 25% of the third downs. Were 0-31, including the playoffs, according to NFL research. After Monday, teams are 1-31. Houston's calling card under DeMeco Ryans has been its defense. In Week 7, it became abundantly clear that's just not going to be good enough. You need an offense, and their offensive woes. This is 2 years of having just a shitbox offense down in Houston. Doesn't matter what that defense can do. It's just going to eat ass all day on offense. So power rankings, we've been following CBS Sports poll, power rank poll over here. It's super weird. It's super weird. Not that it's not deservingly so, actually. I think that old Shane Steichen has done a phenomenal job with Daniel Jones. You know what I'm saying? How we doing, Paul? What's on your mind? Yeah. Yep, buttlock is on my mind. You got that right, Curry. You got that right. Talking about buttlock. Ryan doesn't know offense, and then they let Tunsil walk. I know, dude. Mr. Detroit City, when they let Tunsil walk, I was like, what the fuck? What's up, Motown Mitch? Motown Mitch in the chat. How you doing, brother? What up, doe? So a new trend. More kings. Ha! Lions were kings of the North. Now they are kings of the NFC. Soon they will be kings of the NFL. Yes, dude. Hashtag more kings. Yes, dude. Yes, the king of kings is Jesus. Damn straight, Mr. Detroit City. Which is why we look for a lot of guys who put Christ first for the Detroit Lions, because it helps us win, dude. It helps us win. Francis Muldoon, what's up, Dad? How you doing? So did the new jerk NFL officiating office tell the Stripes to not be so blatantly biased towards the Lions? Sure looked that way. See, dude? Everybody's seeing it. Everybody's like, the fuck is going on? Why are we getting all of these calls? What the fuck? This doesn't normally happen. Why? Why are you treating us like a normal NFL team? Why are you treating us like everybody else? Why aren't you blatantly disrespecting us? What is this? What is the? What is it's like that meme where the dude holding the butterfly and it's like, is this an NFL team? Like, dude, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Signed injury prone Christian Kirk. Good guy, can't play. Sadly, Houston is overrated like Washington by the media and fans. Mr. Detroit City, you are correct. And Christian Kirk, it sucks that he's injury prone because that guy had like all of the physical traits to be a sensational wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, what's on your mind? Well, look, Curry. Look. It's what's his name? Where's Buttlock? Where's this dude's butt? His name's like last name's Bullock, but here you go. Kalen Bullock. Yeah, Kalen Bullock, but for some reason I read it as Buttlock. Yeah, good old Kalen Buttlock. Ranks right up there with the kicker for the Chiefs, old Harrison Buttlicker. All right, so our poll, and it's super weird just because I feel like I'm looking at a snapshot from the early 2000s. Remove the Detroit Lions, but the Colts sitting on top of the power rankings at 6-1. Legit, fellas. At 12:30 p.m. or 12:30 p.m. Week 1 of the NFL season, Daniel Jones is the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. Shane Steichen's on the hot seat. Anthony Richardson's clearly a bust. There was, I don't think, any reality that any of us could see where the Indianapolis Colts were going to be sitting 6-1 and currently number 1 in the NFL in the power rankings. But alas, here we are. Colts sitting at number 1 are an offensive machine right now. Shane Steichen is the clear leader of the NFL Coach of the Year. Patrick Mahomes and the NFL-backed Kansas City Chiefs coming at number 2, undeservingly too. So they're 4-3 and not worth being number 2. But hey, when the NFL puts its thumb up your butt and tips the scale in your favor, you're going to be considered one of the top teams. The Packers at 3, disagree with that. The Lions coming at number 4, but what they did Monday night to the Buccaneers offense was with a makeshift secondary was truly impressive. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs is special. Number 4, the Bucs. Number 6, the Broncos. Number 7, the Seahawks. 8 goes to the Rams. 9, the Patriots. I think the Patriots should actually be higher than that. That is a little bit of disrespect. Drake May is playing at an MVP level for a second-year quarterback with not a incredibly impressive supporting cast around him, at least not of name-brand players. And then rounding out the top 10 is going to be our Buffalo Bills. 11 and 12 going to go to the Eagles, and 49ers just outside the top 10. So we just wanted to take a quick snapshot at that and see what CBS is taking. That's just the poll. Some people's might be differently, but that's just the poll we have elected to follow. follow. That's not how I feel about the league, but that's the one that I picked week 1, and it's just why not keep for data purposes. We're just going to keep following that poll all year long. I mean, it checks out. They have a QB who is a competent human. AR is trouble. Yeah, dude, Anthony Richardson, something's wrong with his brain, dude. Ocala, Florida, less than 45 minutes from Gainesville. Anthony Richardson is not a good person. It reflects at his job. Yeah, dude, he's lazy. He's lazy. He's not committed. He's not committed. Yo, Brent, 100%. Brent DeWitt, my guy, bro. Legit. Talk about a heavy dose of reality. People shouldn't be surprised at Montgomery's 13 for 21 yards. Johnny Moe kept running at Vita Vea. And that's exactly it, dude. He would send Gibbs to the outside, but he just kept throwing David Montgomery directly at Vita Vea, which maybe that was the plan. Maybe it's just like, hey, David Montgomery, we're just going to pummel your head against Vita Vea all night and make him tired. And maybe that's what they did. But yeah, if that's your approach to the run game, I'm going to run right at Vita Vea, a future Hall of Fame defensive tackle. It's not going to work out so great for you. So what did we learn from Detroit's 24-9 win Monday night over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Number 1, Detroit's defense delivers phenomenal performance. I want to give a shout out real quick and just point one thing. Brad Holmes, please listen to me, my guy. I don't want to tell you how to do your job because you are, by all metrics, the smartest general manager in professional football, if not professional sports. You have an incredibly sharp eye for talent, and your scouting department does a really, really good job. Except for corners. No corner that Brad Holmes has ever drafted has worked out so far for the Detroit Lions. Chase Lucas, Enos the Penis Rakestraw Breakstraw, and currently on injury, Terrion Arnold, who has backslid from where he was last year. Sophomore slump, sure, we can call it that. Hopefully he can turn it around after the bye week. But what Brad Holmes is good at doing is identifying pre-existing defensive backfield talent, i.e. Amik Robertson, Rock Yassin, DJ Reed, Arthur Mollett. All these guys are playing lights out. So I am going to go ahead and cast my vote for moving forward. I don't think that Brad Holmes or the Detroit Lions need to spend any draft picks ever on a cornerback. Every position you've taken has been successful in some capacity or another, except for cornerback. So knowing that you can find these guys, Amik Robertson, and guys, shout out Jody, if you're listening. Does Amik Robertson always wear a green mouthpiece, or was he out there showing solidarity with Brian Branch? Because if you guys noticed, Amik had that bright green mouthpiece out, dude. And y'all, what did your boys say about Amik Robertson at the beginning of the year? We had all these names laid out, and I said Amik Robertson is the X factor on defense for the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions defense delivers phenomenal performance. The Lions had plenty of reasons to struggle defensively Monday night. They entered the game without 3 of their top defensive backs. You know them, Kirby, T.A., and Avonte Maddox, due to their injury, and lost a 4th because of Brian Branch post-game conduct following their Week 6 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, leading to a suspension. Making matters worse, Rock Yassin exited the game in the second half due to cramps, eliminating another defender from their thin unit. Those absences would cut down a lesser team at the knees and make a field day for an offense as explosive as Tampa Bay. But not these Lions. Under the direction of first-year defensive coordinator Calvin Shepard, Detroit proved it is a resilient bunch, receiving standout performances from our boy Amik Robertson, well-traveled nickelback Arthur Mollett, and backups Eric Hallett, Nick Whiteside, and Thomas Harper. Shout out Whiteside and Hallett. Dude, Hallett, I've been hyping you up since the preseason, my guy. I told you guys, Eric Hallett is a valuable asset to have in the depth pool. Their combined efforts, plus a ferocious defensive front that racked up 20 QB pressures and 4 sacks, made Monday night into a nightmare for early season MVP favorite Baker Mayfield. A result that was essential for Detroit's offense failed to capitalize on turnovers forced by the Lions defense on a night when Jared Goff was nowhere near his best self. The Lions needed their defense to stand tall they stood like a brick wall. Mayfield finally encounters an insurmountable obstacle. Through 6 weeks, no quarterback in the NFL has played better football than Baker Mayfield. He owned a sparkling stat line, authored 4 last-minute comeback victories, heroically led the Buccaneers to a statement win over the 49ers in Week 6, and presented a rather intimidating challenge to the Lions team seeking a bounce-back performance after a frustrating loss to the Chiefs. For the first time in 2025, however, Mayfield appeared overwhelmed by the moment. He wasn't skittish, but he did appear unusually frantic in the pocket and saw a level of difficulty increase after losing Mike Evans to injury in the first half. Mayfield frequently overshot his intended targets and rarely found the going against Detroit's defense. Scumbaggery. Succumbing. Damn, I cannot read to save my ass. Succumbing to the combined challenges presented by the opposition inside a raucous Ford Field. I loved the refs suck or whatever the chant was. I thought it was awesome that the Ford Field was so loud that it was deafening out the commentators. Ford Field is an absolutely terrifying place for opponents to play. The 313 Ford Field Lions fans. Not only do we walk into your own damn stadium and take over, but then it's like, yeah, good luck. Good luck going to Ford Field. Enjoy that fucking nightmare. The difficulty of the night, an uncharacteristically inconsistent night that the Bucs fans will hope is an aberration. Gibbs is one of one. Jahmyr Gibbs' reputation as an explosive, dynamic three-down threat was cemented long before Monday night, but that shouldn't detract from the performance Gibbs produced in front of a national audience. The running back was electric from start, ripped off a 78-yard touchdown run, racked up 218 scrimmage yards, and powered a Lions offense that was largely directionless when he wasn't handling the football. Gibbs shredded the Buccaneers, bailing out Goff on a night in which the quarterback looked uncomfortable and proving once again how special of a back he is. Whoops. My phone's goofing around. It's fair to wonder if the Lions improved to 5-2 without Gibbs. Fortunately, Detroit fans don't need to waste their time with such don't need to waste their time with such thoughts. Thanks to their star runner, had fucking spam call come up on my phone and distracted me because it was a shiny object and I have the attention span of a gopher. Injuries pile up for the Bucs. Tampa Bay's 5-1 start was impressive for more than just the fashion in which the Buccaneers had won their games through the first 6 weeks. The Buccaneers have endured a number of absences and subsequent losses along their offensive line, haven't had the luxury of a fully healthy receiving core, and entered Monday night without Bucky Ducky Irving, Chris Godwin, 2 starting offensive linemen, and defensive tackle, one of my favorites, Kalijah Cansey. He knew they'd have to overcome such challenges against versus a top-tier opponent in a hostile environment Monday night, but also were fortunate to welcome back receiver Mike Evans. That is, until Evans exited in the first half with a concussion and shoulder injury. The combination of these absences limited the Bucs on a night in which they needed all of their resources to overcome a ferocious Lions defense, and when they faced must-have third and fourth down situations in the fourth quarter, Evans' absence was glaring. Hopefully they'll get Irving and Godwin back before long. Luckily, the bye week is right around the corner. Yep, well, that sucks to be them, and I'm going to go ahead and bask in the glory of our victory. We do have one article left up here for you guys. How's the chat doing? People shouldn't be surprised at Monty's. Yep, read that. Brad is not number one GM until he gets Frank out of retirement. You saw Howley and Philly just get Brandon Graham out of it. Yeah, dude. Or Howie. I know, man. Mr. Detroit City. Part of me really wants Frank back, dude. Part of me really misses Frank Ragnow. You might be right that Howie's number one because of how he's able to play the cap, but Philadelphia as a team isn't gelling, which is a direct reflection on his ability to be a chemist. Brad Holmes is being very successful in the chemistry on the field and in the locker room, and I don't think Philadelphia right now has a clear-cut leader of the team. I think they have a lot of guys, a lot of high-end guys, and a lot of talented assets. But Jalen Hurts speaks in Instagram quotes. Saquon Barkley is an MVP caliber player. A.J. Brown could be the best wide receiver in the NFL if he would just shut his fucking trap. I don't think that any one person stands as the leader of the Philadelphia Eagles, which allows for a breakdown in chemistry. A breakdown in team chemistry will result in what you're seeing with the Eagles now, a 4-2 team who is actually on the backslide after, they're on their Super Bowl defend campaign right now. They are the champs, and they're not really looking like the champs, which it can be changed. Maybe it's Sirianni, maybe it's something else going on, but I just think that is a direct reflection on the cook in the kitchen, which would be the GM. And I think right now Brad Holmes is presenting a better dish, a better flavorful melting pot of teams or of characters in the pot, whereas Philadelphia maybe added or took away something that isn't quite making the soup taste great. You know what I'm saying? Definitely showing solidarity. Then he wore his jersey. Oh, he did? Ho, 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 ho! Amik is the man, dude. Amik Robertson is the fucking man, bro. That is so awesome, dude. That's so awesome. Been Meek the freak train since we got him. Me too, dude. Me too. And then that quote he said where when you can't bury what came from the dirt. Yeah, Thomas Harper played well too, dude. He did play well. Guess the piece in HC needs to make. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying, Mr. Trey City. I don't know if it's something to do. Maybe it's the coaching. Maybe it's Sirianni. Sirianni doesn't quite necessarily seem like the most stable of leaders. Like, yeah, Dan Campbell's an emotional guy, but he doesn't let it dictate his demeanor or let it cloud his judgment. I think Sirianni lets his emotions cloud his judgment. Let's finish this off today, guys, with a little bit of a high note. The Lions learned the meaning of second chance with one player in win over the Bucs. The best part of this job is when you get to cover stories that you probably never really see coming. Rewind to June when the now defunct Michigan Panthers were playing in the USFL Championship game against the St. Louis Battlehawks. This is the last UFL game of Nick Whiteside's career. From there, the question for the former Saginaw Valley corner was, what is next? He had a shot with the Commies before his trip to the UFL, but it never really worked out. He was active for one game. A month later, the Lions signed him, and he wowed everyone right away. The question was, who would be the sixth cornerback on the 53-man roster? Let's get this paused. I said pause. Okay. I think every reporter on the field during training camp would have told you that Whiteside probably has it locked down. Then the Lions cut him at the end of August and surprisingly didn't bring him back to the practice squad. Whiteside went the whole first month of the season without a gig. I'll never know why no team thought to put him on their practice squad. On October 1st, the Lions brought him back, and on the 11th, he was signed to the 53-man roster out of necessity because of all of the injuries. Then, Nick Whiteside had the game of his life on Monday Night Football against the Bucs. That's pretty awesome. Going into this game, one of the big messages that the Lions defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard had for his ragtag group of misfits that he had playing in his secondary was that this could be your chance. This could be your night to show not just the Lions, but the entire league what you can do. Nobody took that to heart more than Whiteside. He played 40 snaps in this game, and he balled out. Whiteside allowed just one catch for 22 yards on 5 targets and had 2 pass breakups, one of which was on 4th down in the end zone. Pro Football Focus grades won't be official till later in the day on Tuesday, but his grade after the game was 90.6. That's crazy for a guy in his first career start and only his second NFL game. These are the moments you make your career. Is Whiteside going to be a long-term starter? Probably not. Did he just secure a role for himself as a rotationary piece and special teams guy for the rest of the season? Probably. Just beautiful stuff. How can you not be romantic about football? So shout out Nick Whiteside. And the story. Guys, you know me, I love the UFL guys getting their chance in the league and making the best of it. Jake Bates, Nick Whiteside. I love it. I'm here for it. I think it's going to be super duper awesome. All right, guys, one last look at the chat. How'd the poll finish out today with 19 votes? Did the NFL expose itself by calling a game more fairly for Detroit last night than in years past? A whopping 89% of you say yes. It's even more clear which makes me not feel so fucking crazy, if I'm being honest. 5% of you say no, they favor Detroit too much, which is also kind of a fair statement. And number 5, team mildly hungover, stop yelling. Yeah, that's totally fair as well, and I was feeling that early on this morning. We're going to go ahead and close the poll. I appreciate each and every one of you who tuned in and shared this around. Slap a like on the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Ring that notification bell so you can be notified every time we go live, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. here at youtube.com. It's the Hat and Beard Show, the largest, fast-growing Detroit Lions NFL content creation station, broadcasting exclusively from Grandma Studio 1. If you hit those metrics, I am number 1. Let's go. We talked about, unfortunately, the tragic event surrounding Doug Martin, and I think what we know about CTE, things aren't looking so great in that direction. But unfortunately, Doug Martin passed last night, 36 years old, while in police custody. A little misleading on the headline. Lions put the NFL on notice, a statement win over the Bucs. Our national news segment from Fox News talking about the Detroit Lions and Jahmyr Gibbs, Jared Goff, and the I told you guys. Look, the guy at the dispensary, the fucking bank teller, the lady next to me at the drive-thru at the bank that was also talking to the bank teller, that was also talking to me. I think Hat and Boobs was on the same thing. Everyone was saying it was going to be a closer game than it was. I firmly was like, it's going to be a blowout. We're going to absolutely beat the fucking brakes off the Tampa, Bay, Buccaneers. Like, we're just going to absolutely take it to them. I was going into this game going, I'm sorry, Baker Mayfield. I'm sorry that it's you that this has to happen to, but this is the way that it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? I felt a beatdown coming. We looked at how the Lions earned an A- grade for their Monday night win, according to CBS Sports. Then we went over and looked at what shook out over in the Seattle-Houston game last night. Not really the most entertaining of games. Kind of a letdown for Monday night doubleheader, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's good for Lions fans, but as a fan of football, were either one of those games really that exciting to watch? We continued to keep an eye on the NFL Power Rankings, according to CBS poll. They got the Colts sitting at number 1. Then we recapped the Lions and Buccaneers game. What did we learn from the Lions' performance? And then we talked about a player spotlight on Nick Whiteside, absolutely making the best of his opportunities. Now, guys, I will say right now, normally I would kick this over to Tom Grossi, and we would watch a Tom Grossi video. I'm still subscribed to Tom Grossi, and I will still watch his content. I can separate the art from the artist, okay? But I am no longer willing to put my name behind his content as far as giving him another layer of broadcast. I'm not going to watch, unless it's really, really good, I'm not going to watch his content on our channel anymore. Although I do try and separate the art from the artist. Tom Grossi had a community post up this weekend where he attended a No Kings protest. And everybody is allowed to have their own political opinion, and you can do what you want. I'm just not cool with that. I genuinely think that these people are ill. I genuinely think that they are very ill. They are inaccurate in nearly everything that they say. Even though he was a history teacher, clearly he doesn't understand history. Not for nothing. Last time I checked, there hasn't been a fucking king in this goddamn country since 1776. You guys aren't mad that there's a king. You guys are mad that you don't have your king, and that's what it is. So I'm not gonna overly hype him. I'm just not cool with that, dude. I'm just not cool. Trust me, I know. Oh yeah, for sure, dude. I know America loves him, but yeah, he's been on the hard left from the jump. He talks about it many times. Oh, he does talk about it? Yeah, well then that's lame. Dead Reckoning, Whiteside is a keeper. This is no-name secondary, played better than our starters. Yeah, dude, you're right, actually. You're not wrong. Those guys played way better than our starters. Legit. You are not wrong, bro. You are not wrong with that statement, Dead Reckoning. Not wrong at all. Not wrong at all. Yeah, his videos are funny, which is why, guys, with Tom Grossi, Brandy, I think you're right. I actually think you're right. I think you are correct. I'm not poo-pooing that or whatever. But yes, I think that's probably why. Yeah, on the down low. Does he ever talk about Mrs. Grossi? Is there a wife? Is there a girlfriend? Yeah, I think he's a little light in the loafers. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a little light in the loafers. But I'm not gonna like actively hate on the guy. I'm just like not gonna like give him more surface space to cover or another platform to project from if he's going to be, because ultimately, like, what it comes down to is if he is one of those people that is in that camp, not only should he buy all of their commandments, I guess, by all of their rules, he should A, not care that I no longer watch him, and he should be, according to their rules, he should be actively not wanting people like me to watch his content. Because if he is one of those weirdo, goofy people on the left, then according to all of their measurements, he actively despises people like me. You know what I'm saying? But I, being a free-thinking, independent individual with autonomy, can separate the art from the artist, and his content is still pretty funny. You know what I mean? Well, the white side went to Saginaw Valley. Yeah, it's pretty cool that he went to Saginaw Valley. Not sure that what he is, that doesn't affect my opinion of him. His actions do. 100%, Mr. Detroit City, 100%. Actions speak louder than words, but that does not mean he's not gay. That's true. That's true, Brandy. It's closeted. It's on the down low. You know what I'm saying? I'll just say I know for a fact he doesn't mess with... Oh, gotcha. He doesn't play around at all with Jesus then. Well, that's lame, dude. That's lame. Yeah, so I'm just letting you know we're not going to be doing Tuesdays are for Tom anymore here. I don't agree with that type of behavior with leftist bullshit. You know what I'm saying? No, yeah, I do. I guess you could say I sound hypocritical because I am so blatantly, openly a Trump supporter and very, very, very MAGA, you know. But in case you guys haven't noticed, we have tried over the past few weeks to kind of reduce the amount of political exposure that we put our channel with. You know what I'm saying? We do try and temper that down a little bit. I'm trying to be more of a change things through culture than change things through the politics. You know what I'm saying? Because politics is downstream from culture. I don't care if he is or not. The No Kings thing is fucked up, though. Yeah, dude, it's fucked up and stupid. It's just fucked up and stupid, man. It's just there. Yeah, whatever. I'm a small YouTuber. Doesn't matter what I think. Guys, try and have yourself a good rest of the day. Today is Tuesday, which means tomorrow's Wednesday. It means it's the old humpery-do day. And guys, guess what? I have a 3-day week. Yep. I had yesterday off on PTO. And then Friday, I have to serve a 1-day unpaid suspension. God is good indeed, y'all. God is good and Christ is king. Make sure you guys get your prayers in. It doesn't ever hurt. It might actually make you feel good for once in your life. You never, ever know. Stay out of trouble. We'll see you guys tomorrow right here, back here at the Hat and Beard Show at 11 a.m. Ring the notification bell. Do all the things on your way out the door. We'll see you tomorrow. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Until then, bonga bonga. Frig off.